Oh,
I think
we are live. Well, there you go. All righty.
skip
Guys,
the
this is going
intro
to be a
video.
rough start off to this one. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you if anybody's watching. Let's see here.
Maybe I should be the captain now.
There we go.
There you go.
All right. Well, what's
Oh,
up,
good.
guys? We are really excited to get to do another week of live streams with y'all here at Tuffy Talk. And I think Layton's supposed to be coming too, but we've got just me, Greg, and Michael here to hang out with you guys. And man, it's there's a few things we could definitely talk about, and we're going to. Um, for me, one thing that I'm really interested in is I like to talk about the draft, the NFL draft,
do it.
because that
Let's
was
do it.
all this weekend, and I got to watch a good portion of it. My wife got to have a nice vacation this weekend, so I got to sit down and watch the entire thing. And
There you go.
there's some interesting takes, but Greg, since you're the one who spoke up first, what were your thoughts?
Well, I heard we did pretty good in the first round.
Yeah.
I heard an All-American got selected just outside the top 5. Icky obviously went to a lot of our viewers' favorite team, mine excluded, but that's okay. I still get to see him a couple times a year, but I wish him well, except for 2 games a year.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I didn't think he would drop out of the top 5. I thought the Texans or the Giants would take him.
Yeah, I thought it was a great deal for the Panthers.
Yeah.
You thought the Texans were giant him?
Yeah, and then even the Jets, making you sent that link saying the Jets GM said it would be hard for them to pass on him, which they ultimately did. So right. I was surprised, but happy about that. I wanted the Panthers to take a tackle, and I thought it would be either the 2 other ones, Evan Neal or what's his face, Charles Cross from Mississippi State.
Yeah.
But I'm happy it's Iggy.
The Giants for me was definitely the surpriser, because you would think that, even though they didn't pick up the 5th-year option on Jones, but you would think they would want to give him as much opportunity to be successful this year. Give him his one final shot. And then give Barkley some good offensive line help. So I thought that was going to be, if the Texans hadn't taken him, I thought that was where he was going to end up, was the Giants, and everyone surprised us.
I kind of felt like it. Go ahead, Michael.
I was just gonna say, I think the Giants were pretty much okay with taking either of the top 3 as well, because they had the 5 and the 7 pick,
right?
And they went and took Thibodeau from Oregon at 5 when they could have taken the tackle. So they must have been like, okay, we'll just take whatever tackle that Carolina doesn't take. So that seems to be
what makes more sense.
How that turned out.
I was thinking, you mentioned the Jets comment. I saw that the Jets were, they had a post later that said that it came down to Gardner and Ekwonu.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess they valued playing defense. I can't remember who's in the Jets league. Is it the Patriots?
So it's the Patriots, the Dolphins, and the Bills. So a lot of offense there.
Yeah.
And then you got also sense. And Salas, their head coach, is a defensive-minded guy. So all that kind of just makes a little bit sense that maybe he wants to win, those low-scoring trench games until they can get Zach Wilson up to speed. He's got some offensive, some wide receiver help, but obviously we can go ahead and jump there. Bam went to the Jets after the fact.
Were you guys surprised that he did not get drafted, or that Emeka didn't get drafted? I was a little surprised that Bam did not get drafted.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
I thought it would be like the 6th, 7th round, something like that. I didn't think anything higher than that.
Especially with him being able to play special teams the way he does, and that's valued. I guess maybe they just don't value the return game as much as they used to, because you're kicking from like the 50-yard line now. I know that's not true, so no one correct me. I'm just being a little hyperbole there. But I think that's probably why he didn't go as high. And then just in general, I don't think they value running backs as much as they used to. I mean, you have to be a stud, like a stud, because I think in the last 3 or 4 drafts there haven't been many to go in the first round.
Ezekiel Elliott, I think, was the last person. Travis Etienne, you talking about running back?
Right, and you had Etienne last year, right? Because I think
25. He was picked 25.
He was their second. Yeah, he was their second pick last year, and then you had Saquon a few years before that. But there's not a lot. because I think teams really value that 5th-year option on those players, and sometimes by the 5th year, running backs are kind of done.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's true.
You don't see it. You don't see those second contracts as much for those running backs, unfortunately. Probably less than 5%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was mostly interested with I wasn't really sure what to think about Bam or Zonovan Knight going to the Jets, because I thought they just drafted Breece Hall, and they also have Michael Carter.
Yep.
So I just didn't really I didn't know what the thinking was there for the agent. I'm not saying it was bad. I just thought there could have been better. I thought Bam should have gone to like a team like Miami or Texas, because Miami is still like this ambiguous backfield. Texas needs help everywhere.
Even the Ravens, where Ricky went, that would have made more sense.
Right. Yeah.
But before we get too far on this, let's talk about the other draft pick from State, the steal of the draft by the Chicago Bears.
Right. Everybody else know that was Trenton Gill. Trenton Gill got picked in the 7th round, and really, really excited about him. I don't think anybody saw Trenton Gill getting picked ahead of either of those two guys or whoever.
I don't know. I mean,
3 punters went in the draft. I don't remember the last time I remember 3 punters being drafted in 1 year. I mean, it just for reference again. Go ahead.
That guy from San Diego State who set all the records.
Yeah, and then the Bucks took the kid out of Georgia in the 4th round. So, but just to put that perspective, just keeping it within state, AJ Cole went undrafted and he's an All-Pro now. So just to say that 3 punters went in the draft, that's just not something that typically happens.
Yeah.
You're lucky to get 1, much less 3. So that was an interesting take for me.
Yeah. What besides any NC State guys, what did you guys think of the draft in general? Like, what was it anything that interesting stood out to you?
Quarterbacks were slow off the board.
Very slow. Yeah. Sam Howell in the 5th round?
Yeah,
first Washington.
5th round.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett went. He was the only one that went in the 1st round to the Steelers, which I think is great for him and for the Steelers.
Yeah. I think that was an interesting take for me. It was so many hometown kids going back to their, their school, from their schools to pros. You got Hutchinson with Detroit, obviously Icky growing up in Charlotte, and then Kenny Pickett being a Pitt Panther product. So I thought, to me, that was kind of an interesting thing that you don't really see a whole lot of, that their hometown teams pick them up. So I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, I thought that was cool. But Malik Willis going in the 4th round to the Titans. That was. He was rumored to be the number 1 quarterback prospect in this class. So he went in the 4th round. It was the 3rd. Did Desmond Ridder? I think Desmond Ridder went before him.
Ridder, and Panthers got Matt Corral ahead of him too, which I don't hate that. I mean, I think it's a good value pick. I don't think he's the answer for the Panthers at QB, but
I don't know. I think the thing with me is it's really interesting. I don't know what to think about it. I know he was 1st in the SEC the last 2 years in touchdowns, passing yards, and passing completion or something like that.
Yeah, completions. He was really high. I think he was like 69, 72, something like that. It was really high. But I think the one thing for me for Corral is he did take a step back in the interception department this year. But I think he was just trying to do more. I mean, Lane Kiffin's offense is wide open. Yeah. So, I thought. Go ahead.
I think it was interesting that they traded up, because in my opinion, I think next year's draft's way more loaded. So
quarterbacks.
They didn't use a pick on them. I don't think they would have gotten a Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, but
they'd have to be
that stuff they might
1
have.
or 2.
So. Because they would have had probably some trade value if they wanted to trade up and get that kind of guy. So maybe I think they were drafting for value. I think, and I don't want to get too much in the Panthers stuff, but I do think they had a good value there. I think the thing that interested me was probably the most interesting thing was what kind of did not happen in the draft. It was the fact that the Titans and the Eagles traded AJ Brown. So that was really interesting to me. But I thought
Eagles had a good draft.
Eagles, the New York teams, Panthers actually got a really good grade for their draft. Chiefs apparently got a good grade for their draft. So,
But you were talking about the quarterbacks from this year. If everything plays out the way folks, all the quote unquote experts think, they have Devin Leary going in the first round in the early mocks for next year, late in the first round, and he's the 4th quarterback now to go off the board. So they're projecting 4 to 5 quarterbacks potentially can go in the first round next year solidly. This year they were saying quarterbacks to go in the first round, but they were all would be reaches and just taking a flyer, which obviously the draft is a lot of that. But I think next year's, to your point, Macon, is much more solid in the top half of that draft.
Yeah. Yep. So I was talking to some of my dad this weekend. So I was thinking that with him too. I was thinking, he was asking, where's, a lot of state guys aren't getting drafted this year. I was like, well, you just wait till next year because
all of them came back.
Devin Leary, Jordan Houston, I guess could stay. I think is he a senior? Jordan Houston.
He won't. No, he's got a COVID year. He's got a COVID year still.
Yeah, I think another year. But you'll have Devin Carter, Thayer Thomas come out. You'll have
but if
Greg Gibson.
If Amezi's not getting drafted, I don't think Thayer gets drafted.
Which is what's really interesting. I mean, because a guy, I almost think if they're who is that receiver from Wake Forest a few years ago that was really good, short kind of slot white guy. I can't remember his name.
I know who you're
with a C. I can't remember his name, but he was like an Italian name. I remember he was similar, and he got drafted, if I'm not mistaken. So
I think he went to the Jets or somebody, if my memory serves. That just sounds like it.
If anybody on the live stream listening remembers, put it in there because I don't remember his name.
Yeah, it was like Carmichael or something like that. I thought, or Cappuccillo, or it was something weird. But the wide receiver class this year was insane. That could be why Emezi didn't get. There was. I think it was.
It's not going to get any better next year, I don't think.
6. I think it was 6 in the first round.
I think it broke, but I think they broke the record for the most wide receivers in either the first 2 or 3 rounds. I don't remember which round it was.
It was 13. I was 13 in the first 55 picks, I think, what it was.
Wow. That's crazy.
Insane. Yeah.
So,
and I bet there was only 3 running backs taken during that whole time.
Yeah. It was. I thought it was a very interesting draft because it was one of the years where you really didn't know who it was going to be, and I think Layton may or may not have put a bet on some things, so that was really interesting. So, but
you were right about Georgia. You were right about the Georgia kid, though. I mean, you said when we were talking a couple weeks ago that he was just shooting up the ranks, and
it's not because of any inside information. That's just what I was reading. But I just didn't understand how this guy was jumping that high. I'd be curious to know. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I saw a stat. He's the first number 1 player ever drafted that wasn't an all conference or all American or anything like that.
That's interesting.
He was the first one ever to go that way. So, they say he's got a lot of upside, but a lot of times he, just didn't show up on film for whatever reason against some of the better competition. But we'll see. We'll see if the Jags got it right.
Crazy how that happened so quick. It's like, one person says something, it's like, oh, maybe we should look at this guy, and then the next, and it just keeps going, and all of a sudden he's the number 1 pick when he wasn't even talked about a month ago.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. So I'm going to go ahead and transition here. We've talked about the draft, and we know where that's at. I want to move to baseball because they had a really nice series. Wasn't a conference series, anything like that, but they had a sweep of Radford. Did you guys get to watch any of those games? I'm guessing Greg may have.
Yeah, I watched some of it.
I saw a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of offense. We averaged 9 runs a game through all 3, and ended up giving up an average of 2 runs a game. So lots of offense. Pitching did its thing. Again, like you said, it was against Radford, but maybe it's just what the doctor ordered to close out this last stretch of ACC games. We got 9 ACC games left, and I think we got 3 or 4 non-conference games left to close this thing out. And I think we'll be good. Unfortunately, we did get some bad news with Highfield being shut down for the season. So that was.
And I was going to get at. We also had the ECU game. I think it was Tuesday.
Yeah, that was a big
live stream. Mm-hmm. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was probably the more fun game, I would say.
I agree.
It meant probably more to both teams, and it was. I think the funniest thing was when they walked Tommy White, and then they walks up and Josh Hood comes up and hits a grand slam, and they zoom in on that guy on the ECU team who's just totally dejected. That was hilarious. But what'd you guys think of Tommy White's play where he got injured?
It didn't look like much. Like it just, maybe he just landed awkwardly. I saw Justin Cook, our insider for baseball, posted earlier today that everything seems okay. Obviously, we'll see if that's true. They did hold him out through the weekend after Friday's injury for
they
precautionary
said
reasons.
He was in the dugout, but just wasn't in the lineup. Wasn't like in a sling or anything. So
I thought he
wasn't giving high fives
his
though.
Shoulder, and then it just popped it in. That's what I kind of thought it was, because he was in writhing pain, and then all of a sudden it went away. And in my mind, a thing like that is usually like something just popped out and they popped it back in. But
like Greg was saying, I think that was a good week. No midweek game this week.
Correct.
And then we got Carolina coming up this weekend. So
that's what I'm saying. They might be holding Tommy out just for, like I said, because you're right. There was no game in the middle of the week. Give him a full week to heal up. Need him for the Carolina series. So we'll obviously keep an eye on that. But thoughts and prayers up for Big Tanks.
Yeah. So what'd you guys? Do you have any players that in your opinion, that from the games this week that really stood out? And I see that Elijah was at the game, and I guess Major Wolf was up too. But if you guys have any thoughts about that, I thought Josh Hood had a big weekend. Big week.
So he was recognized as a player of the week by Collegiate Baseball.
Nationally.
So National Collegiate. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh well, then there you go. There's your answer. Is anybody else? I mean, like, but Josh Hood had how many home runs did he have this weekend?
4
plus the one in the midweek.
So 3. I think 3 against Radford and 1 against DCU.
Yeah.
I thought Devontae Brown had a nice play out in the outfield.
That catch was amazing.
Top 10 play, I think. I think Groover, he had a couple home runs, I believe, against Radford that probably going to get overshadowed by Josh's performance and all that. But I think this team's starting to put together really well. I think you're starting to see it from pieces like we knew Josh Hood was good, but we hadn't seen that kind of performance so far. And I think it's at the right time to see another guy or two really start to step up, particularly if we don't have any idea how Tommy White's little lingering soreness or tenderness he might have from his injury. But I think particularly you mentioned going into Carolina, having played a series against Radford, which is not as probably as strong of an opponent, and you sweep them, build some confidence. I think that's probably a smart timing for that. I imagine that may have been on purpose, but I don't know how that works.
Yeah, and then the other thing, Matt Willitson was also pitcher of the week by Collegiate Baseball, so he had a nice week.
He had 13 strikeouts on Sunday or whenever he pitched.
Yeah, he tore it up. And then things have definitely changed since Avent started shuffling the defensive alignment around. I think we've definitely gotten better. Still making errors, but I think he's taken some of the pressure off the freshmen by taking Green and moving Hood over to short, and then Tommy playing third, and then Groover playing first. I think that's definitely it's not. I don't think it's coincidental that we've started playing a lot better baseball on both sides of it, and then we just added our third player to the double-digit home run team or club. So
right.
So so we're hitting dingers like with authority.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought it was really great for the team to be able to get that win. So the next thing I wanted to switch to was basically is the in-state basketball team, and we had a commitment today from the transfer portal, and it was, I believe it's Dusan, I think is how they pronounce it. I tried looking it up. Mahorcic. It looks like Doncic. I thought of.
I think.
Probably.
Yeah,
so
I think it's like that.
Mahorcic, I think is how you pronounce his last name, but it's a 6'10" center that looks pretty athletic. He looks like a pretty good repertoire of post moves. Can hit the three as a 6'10" center.
Shoots 74% from free throws, so that's always good.
Yeah, I know that he had was it 5 and some change points per game on 14 minutes, which is decent. If he were to play, 30 minutes a game, that's that projects out to be 11 points, 10.8 points a game. So, did you guys get to watch any of his film?
Yeah, I saw. I don't remember who posted it, and I'm bad at remembering some of that stuff. But yeah, he had some nice shots around the top of the key. He had some nice passes. Like, I mean, he distributes it very well from inside out, and then even players cut into the basket. Some of the tape showed. So I think he averaged just under 2 assists a game, which is always nice from your big man, assuming that we can find a shooter that can light it up from the outside. But
right.
I like it. And you mentioned making about, Duwanu. I think he'll progress. I think he'll get bigger and stronger. Maybe he makes a leap kind of like Manny did from his freshman to sophomore year. So I think that could be a good 1-2 punch.
Yeah. Like you said, I watched the highlights from his time at Utah. He kind of just looks like a classic, European big man. There wasn't a lot of defensive highlights on the highlight reel, so I think that he may need a little work there, but
he's not going to be that. But I think he gives you some versatility offensively that you have not had with Manny or Evie or whoever else, Jalen. I think the closest, and I don't even think his game is similar really much at all, but as far as the offensive weapon from a center position is DJ Thunderberg. I mean, but DJ was more of like
DJ can block though.
Yeah. DJ's like a really athletic 4, I feel like. So this guy is like a true center.
It'd definitely be more physical presence down low than
See, I don't even know about physical. Like, to your point, Michael, like those Euro bigs don't play tight, strong defense. They're more, like you said, more of the finesse game. So we'll see. Maybe it's out there and we just didn't get the clips for it. So hopefully he comes in and is able to body. I don't remember his weight, but I mean, he didn't look super, super strong, but sometimes that stuff can be deceiving when you're looking at, they'll show you what they want you to see. So.
Yeah, I don't see his weight, his measurables on here yet, but that's
I think he was 245 if I remember.
Let's get here. You go.
Right.
6'10", 225.
225. I knew it was at 5.
225. Yeah. So he averaged 5.5 points, 4.1 rebounds for Utah last season at 14.4 minutes. And before then, he was at Illinois State, where he averaged 9.9 points and 7.2 rebounds. The one thing about him, though, is that he was kicked off of Utah's team for some I don't know what the deal was, but it was some personal stuff that he had going on, and don't like seeing that necessarily. Face value. Don't like that side of things. I would be curious to know what that was. Maybe it's personal. Nobody really needs to know, but
I'm sure they did their due diligence on it.
Yeah, right. So we'll see how that works out. But I thought from a pickup perspective, I thought it was really nice. So I'm excited about that. I was thinking, who would the starting lineup be? Do you guys have an opinion now?
Well, again, it'll determine, obviously, with Sebron and Smith. So assuming that they're back, there's 2. I think whoever wins the battle between the 2 bigs, that'll be 1. I think Casey will be there. The 4th, I don't know. I don't know who the. I would assume we would do. Well, but that's not how Keats runs his system. He usually runs 4 guards and a big. Very rarely. I don't think I can remember a time other than maybe Manny and Thunderberg being in together, but I don't even remember. They usually spelled each other. Yeah, so he's usually running 4.
It depends on what Gant gives us, right? Because he could.
Jokel. It'd be Jokel. That's your transfer, Mississippi.
Jarkel.
Well, Jarkel Joyner will be your point guard. And it'll give Breon another year to
play wing,
get acclimated to the college game, and then I think you're going to see if, hypothetically speaking, if Smith or Sebron were to come back, those are your 2 and your 3. And then I think what's more interesting, again, I think who's going to play the 4. That's the most interesting question to me. I think it might be Gant. See, Jack Clark, we got him, and I don't really view him as a 4. He's a 6'8" guy.
What's Sebron?
Really Sebron is the 3. Sebron's on the 4.
But in Keats' system, again, he runs like wing guards out as his 4.
But Helms was the 4, which is what makes me think maybe Jack Clark is the 4. But I don't know. I mean, he's a big small forward player. So I kind of think that might be in that case who that might be, but I know Greg Gant is more of a defensive player than he is necessarily offensive. I think what I've heard is that he's more of a versatile kind of player in that regard. So, I don't know. Maybe you might need a defensive anchor when you have a center who's more offensive and a small forward, a shooting guard who's more offensive. But maybe it's not Gant, or I don't know who it would be. Maybe it is Sebron, but I don't think Sebron coming back, if he's not going to declare, I don't think he would tolerate playing the 4. That sounds kind of lame, but I just don't think he would personally.
Yeah, I don't know. I think. I mean, we still have 1 open scholarship and then potentially 2 more, depending on what Smith and Sebron do. So, there could still be guys that we get from the portal who could slide into the starting lineup that we don't know yet. So,
it's very true.
Be interesting.
So, where do you think this team stats up right now, roster-wise, compared to the ACC? I mean, Carolina got all their guys back.
Below them.
That's not a fair comparison. I mean,
you got Duke. You got and in my opinion, I see Nicholas's comment. I don't think Sebron's coming back.
Either,
I don't even really know if Smith's going to come back.
Smith
to be honest,
has been shooting up the draft boards. From what I've seen.
And now we talked about this last week. I would be more disappointed if. So like Smith is probably would at least get drafted, maybe like a late second I mean, obviously the least he could do is not get drafted, but it sounds like he's like a 2nd round pick right now.
Yeah.
If he came back, he'd be a lottery pick maybe, or a fringe lottery pick. But Sebron's not even on any mock drafts. And if he were to leave and not be on any mock drafts, that'd be more disappointing, because it's like, well, dude, if you came back and you worked on your game, maybe you could be a draft pick.
And this is where, NIL can work to our advantage,
Yeah, I think State's going to have to be able to pay these guys to come back. It may give them, some money to say, hey, we'll jingle this chain here for a little bit, and
it can benefit you in the long run too. You come back.
It's a mutual
business
relationship,
right? Business relationship at that point.
Yep. So I mean, we can maybe get him a TV spot like Devin Leary.
Yeah,
Devin Leary got a TV spot.
Yeah.
It was a commercial. I don't know if it actually aired, but it was for a construction company doing safety, and he was like throwing a football at, and like, so the lady didn't get hit in a hard helmet. It's good stuff, man. It's out there on Twitter. Go check it out. It's good stuff. But no, I mean, you're gonna have to get him more than Bojangles money, that's for sure.
Yeah,
especially if the rumors are true, what they're doing for the receiver out in Pitt, getting him $3 million in a house.
Did you see that? Did you see that? The coach from Pitt called the coach at USC. I'm blanking on the name.
Yeah.
Narduzzi called
Narduzzi, Riley,
Lincoln Riley, and expressed his displeasure. I think
he's not even in the portal. I mean, that's complete tampering. It's insane. I don't know if you guys saw Aaron.
I think Alabama's involved now too. Just FYI, is it official? He's transferring to USC?
No, he's
not official.
Well,
so I saw Alabama kind of got involved a little bit.
So portal closed last night at 11:59 p.m. But the schools have up to 2 days to submit the player's name into the portal. So we won't know officially who's in the portal until Wednesday morning. So it could still come out that he's transferring, but as of now, nothing yet.
Well, and then you have the other thing where you got these players overplaying their hands, like Wong out of Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're like,
I was lame when he said he was not gonna. He said he called it. What I think I got the text from one of you guys. I said he was balked. He balked basically.
Yeah, he talked a big game, and he didn't get what he wanted, so now he had to kind of save face and
chemistry right now in that locker room.
And he like blamed it. He like tweeted out a statement and like blamed it on his agent for saying that. He's like, any other further statements will be made by me directly. So I wonder if he fired that agent or not.
Well, that's the other thing, that they can have these darn agents now as long as they're NCAA approved, and so you got these these basically now you have these NCAA certified agents. Backdoor channels with these teams and coaches and all of that, and said, that way they're acting on the player's behalf. So that's probably how it's not tampering, because they're going through the agent and then the agent speaking on behalf. But I think one of you guys posted today, this is what happens when you go full NIL and there's no one, when the patients or the patients are running the asylum. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Like, they didn't want to get involved with it, and now it's just completely out of hand in less than 2 years. Like, I mean, it's the Wild Wild West.
A year. It was last July.
It's
Yeah.
when I get involved, it's just unless there's no guardrails there, it's just going to anything can happen.
And there
it's
needs
money.
to be. I mean,
but what I was going with is I don't know if you saw on Twitter the former Notre Dame player Aaron I can't remember. He does CBS. He does their stuff. Aaron Taylor, maybe I think his name was, but he did a FaceTime type thing on Twitter, and he was just like, "Look,
oh yeah, that guy,
yeah." He was like, "This is insane. Like the adults in the room need to self-police themselves." Essentially, is what he's saying, and he goes, "They're not. So now some governing body needs to step up and do this." And the things that I saw on the ACC network the other night is with Emirates stepping down here soon, like these governing bodies.
Goodness.
Yeah,
Emmert,
well, not till next year,
Mark
unfortunately.
Emmert,
yeah, so not till next year, unfortunately. But the guys on the ACC network were essentially saying, now's the time. You need a president for each of these sports, so now you can start governing yourselves. And basically, the NCAA is the overarching, but then everything gets delegated down to the different sports. And you're gonna have to do something like that, or it's just gonna get worse and worse. And now the difference, it's always been happening with boosters, but now it's just gotten out of hand because now they can do it openly and up front.
and call it NIL.
Yeah, exactly. Before it was just backdoor channels with bags of money. Now it's just come sponsor me on Instagram or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think one business that seems to be doing it well is that Gopher company. They seem to be doing it the right way, and the few guys are doing it right, but this is a mess. And to me, for me being somewhat sarcastic person, I just kind of want them to go to some of these people like Jay Billis, who said, whatever he said, and just be like, hey, how do you like this right now, man? I mean, I get he's not the one who's managing it, but he's the one advocating for it. And I think, I don't know.
I think a lot of people who were advocating for it assume the NCAA would put some, like you said, guardrails, rules in place and be able to enforce that.
Desmond Howard was on I guess college game day on Saturday before the draft kicked off that day, and he mentioned it, and he was like, he personally was Desmond Howard, but he was like, I do not like where college sports are headed. This is terrible. He said the same thing. He actually used the phrase "Wild Wild West." He said this is just like any man's game. You can highest bidder. This is not right. So
I saw somebody tweet, because that's been thrown around a lot. It's like the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, that seems the term of the day.
Somebody said, idea, I propose a moratorium on all actually NIL is like the Wild Wild West takes until, like in the true Wild West, Pat Narduzzi attempts to settle this conflict with a duel with Lincoln Riley.
Yes. Yeah. I think the OK Corral. I think they can get an NIL deal for the OK Corral, and we can get it sponsored. We can put advertisements on tumbleweeds as they go across.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. It's insane.
But, no, I thought it was really crazy. I don't like the way it's going. So, but that was the major development for those who didn't know. Yeah, Miami had a player who was basically saying, "I want more money," after Miami went and offered some incoming transfer that actually State was looking into.
Yeah,
they offered him like 2 years, $400,000 per year, and then this Isaiah Wong was like, "Whoa! I want more money, and I'm going to transfer unless you don't give me more money." And then, but it was. I don't know. It'll happen more and more.
I will say the best tweet, and we can move on after this, was again, I see things, I don't remember who says them, but someone who was like, if the guy from Pitt goes to USC, they're going to be really regretting it, because any receiver in the Atlantic Coast Conference in the Coastal Division can come up with those numbers. So basically taking a dig at the defenses in the Coastal Division. So they'll have buyer's remorse within the first 3 games and realize he's not as good as they think he is. So,
I mean, they're not wrong. I mean, Pitt was the only good team that had a good defense last year. Like Virginia, Carolina, their secondaries were terrible.
Yeah, we went and talk about Georgia Tech and Duke. So
yeah.
Well, let me get this. So I'm one thing I also want to point out too. I thought was interesting is that the other night they had the Wolfies for NC State.
Yeah.
So it's kind of we're still on basketball, and be the last thing I kind of mentioned about it, but I think Terquavian won Rookie of the Year for men's sports across all sports.
Yeah.
And I think and he was there to receive it, which I thought was interesting. And then I also thought this interesting is that when I remember when Darion Seabrun won MVP, I don't know if it was for the basketball team or like the most valuable player to his team relative across the campus, and he was not there to get his award. So I don't know how telling that is. I think it's probably more telling about Seabrun than it is Smith, but maybe not. But I thought that was kind of interesting.
The one thing I noticed a couple weeks ago we didn't really talk about was Jericho Helms played in the Portsmouth Invitational and didn't do too bad.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I saw he was going to play in it, but
that.
Yeah, he did okay. I don't remember his stats, but I just remember seeing that because growing up in that area, there's been many a times that I went to the Portsmouth Invitational. And it's a lot of, in the past, it used to be a lot of good talent, but now the way things are different, with players declaring early, it's not as, it doesn't have quite the ring that it used to. But yeah, he was out there. And then I guess the other basketball note on the women's side, we did lose an assistant coach, Coach Erin Bath. She went to Michigan. To be their lead recruiting coordinator. So that's someone that Coach Moore will have to replace on staff moving forward.
Yeah, I feel like he knows he's got a channel now, so he's going to be able to get it. But that was a big loss. I think she was the recruiting coordinator, right?
Yeah.
Really well, speaking of women's basketball, I think it was pretty shocking. I don't know if anybody else has seen this. I don't think it made a big publicity yet, but everybody knows that we had 2 women's players get drafted in the WNBA draft. It was Elisa Canane to the Seattle Storm and then Kayla Jones to the Minnesota Lynx. And apparently Reina Perez also was a free agent pickup kind of thing for their camps for Seattle too, because her and Elisa are at the same team. And apparently both players got released. Elisa and Reina both got released. I think obviously Reina, maybe you would kind of see that coming, but Elisa getting released and she's only a 2nd round pick. Like that was really interesting. I think there's not a lot of picks in the WNBA draft. And I don't know. You guys, I saw you on our thread today, guys, that we had you mentioned that there's shorter benches. Is that right?
Yeah. 12 players. Yeah.
I know. And there's only 12 teams.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think it's 12. You're right.
So 144 total roster spots, and they do. So I mean, it makes sense that the NBA draft or the WNBA draft was 3 rounds. So 36 players are getting drafted.
They just spent a draft pick on her, and they just already are like, nope, we don't want you. Like you're not good enough, which is interesting because she fell in the draft.
Yeah.
So I wonder why. What do you guys think? I have my thoughts, but
on why she fell or got cut.
Both.
They're probably the same.
I don't know. Like I mean, this actually might be a blessing in disguise, even though I'm sure they would rather stay home, i.e. in the U.S. to play instead of going overseas. But I think the money and the competition will probably be better going overseas. From what I've read, the WNBA just likes, retreading old names to live the past. I mean, you got a lot of older players in the WNBA. And so they don't do a whole lot of player development from what I'm seeing.
My thought was a perception of athleticism. That's my opinion. I think Elisa is athletic, but she doesn't, to me, and maybe I'm just speaking blasphemy here. She doesn't scream very athletic center. She's doesn't seem as quick as you probably want, and as fluid in how she plays. She can shoot, and she's tough. She's tough, but I just don't. That was my kind of thing. Like she can, if you compare her like a girl, like again, obviously, I feel like it's fair. You can make this comparison, relatively speaking, is Aaliyah Boston. They both were high level centers in college women's basketball. But when you think of Elisa versus Aaliyah, I do think there's another level of athleticism that Aaliyah provides you that you don't see from Elisa. But Elisa's very athletic. I mean, she's still like from a relatively speaking, she's a center. She's 6'5" for a girl, and she plays great basketball. It's just, I wonder if her type of game doesn't really fit the WNBA.
She's gritty. I mean, for lack of a better word,
tough.
She's just gritty.
Yeah.
She gets the I think where you're getting at. She likes to get the dirty points, putbacks, You know, she
like
can
Richard
shoot
Howell.
outside.
Richard Howell's a beast in college basketball, but his game may just not really fit. I wouldn't call Richard Howell like a really athletic guy. I would just like, man, he was just a monster trying
he has a
to
knack for the
rebound the
basket.
ball. Yeah. Maybe, again, maybe that's blasphemous, but I kind of think that. So.
No, I mean, I don't.
Richard Howell's a great
like
player. It's just like, I mean, everybody's got their weaknesses, and I think that maybe that's
Elisa was never the one to, you know, take somebody off the dribble and go to the hoop. You know, she was a lot,
That's
like
what
you
I'm
said,
getting
she's
at.
under the basket. You know, she's has amazing post moves and can score on putbacks and stuff. And then she can also hit the three.
Yeah,
but
she's an old school basketball player.
It's not,
So, but yeah,
she's not
really,
gonna. I don't think she. Yeah, I don't think she, like to your point. I don't think she's gonna get out and transition and you know, run the floor. She's more of a trailer type. I don't mean like a truck, but like she'll trail the play, and you know, and do something there. But yeah, I don't think she's. And again, I don't watch enough WNBA, so for me to make a true assessment, I don't think that would be fair.
Right, I don't either, but I just do think when I've watched enough women's basketball already to kind of. But at the same time, it's also hard for me to get because like you spend a draft pick on her, and she is like they don't have a lot of post players like 6'5" girls with her ability to play the 5 position don't come around a lot.
Don't grow on trees.
So that's why I thought it was like you're still cutting her. She could probably be a decent bench player, but maybe I don't know who they have on the roster.
Well, yeah, they already had 2 centers on their team, and they I looked at their stats, and obviously it's apples to oranges because Elise has never played in the WNBA, so you know I can't say she would average what they're averaging. But right after they cut her, they brought in a forward that's like a retread that averaged 5 points a game. Like I figure I think Elise could get you 5, even if you moved her to forward and didn't play her at center. Like, you know, you could run bigs, but again, I don't know their scheme and whatever. But I think Elise could get 5 points in the WNBA. Like, come on. Like, she can get you 5 and 3 with 10 minutes of action or 15 minutes of action. But I don't know. I guess they're just not about developing young talent. So, which is a shame, you know. But I think also I think that boils down to their money too, right? I don't think they don't. Obviously, there's a reason they only have 12 on their team.
Yeah,
they don't generate enough revenue. Yeah,
they can't afford to take on somebody who they need to develop. You need somebody who's ready now.
Right. Yeah. But maybe she goes overseas and works her way back. Yeah. I hope, you know, I go make your money, young lady. You deserve it. So,
yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I mean, are there any other sports that you guys heard updates on? Because I'm kind of running out of stuff.
So we got golf, women's golf. They're headed out to Stillwater for the NCAA tournament.
Okay, I just read they did make that. I saw that. You're right. Yeah, I did see that. Qualified.
Yep. Men's tennis will be hosting, I think, Liberty this weekend in the tournament. So we got some teams in postseason action.
Yeah. Women's tennis too. I don't know when they play, but I know they were top 5 team in the country, so they'll be playing.
Yeah, I didn't see where they ended up. Maybe it hadn't been announced. But obviously the sailing, they're going to nationals again for the 2nd year in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some postseason play there. Wrestling. We had some former alumni some alumni and some current players go out to Vegas, and we had a good showing out there.
So it's the Wolfpack RTC.
Yeah.
Right?
So
what is that? I don't really.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, this is where we need Leighton because he's much smarter.
Yeah, I know.
Leighton's the wrestling kind of guy. Leighton
he has made me smart. So I can explain it to you in layman's, and I wish we usually have 1 or 2 guys in here that are very smart in wrestling, but they're not with us tonight. If you will. Yeah, specialists. Yeah, the Wolfpack RTC basically. They're kind of like the boosters, if you will, for wrestling, the wrestling arm of the booster club. They have to do a lot of their stuff on their own. So it just gives a place where we can train Wolfpack wrestlers, both current and former wrestlers that go out and compete in these they consider these senior level events. So they're basically sponsor them. They'll, help them with the, entry fees, meal money, travel expenses, so on and so forth. So it not only gives them a place to keep their skills sharp, it gets them their ability to get out to these events and qualify and participate.
It's not really affiliated with the school. It's just
it's a weird relationship, and that's what I haven't really quite figured out. I did talk with some folks when we were at the casino night, and I still don't 100% understand it. Like, I know they're trying to build a new facility just off campus. Don't ask me where, but so that's what they're in the process of doing. They do help with the they kind of act as a supplemental arm when they're not getting money from the athletics department. Like, I know one thing they're going to try to do is build a new locker room for the guys. So they do all kinds of things. They want to be able to host like tournaments, if you will, or have guys that are trying to compete at the world level come in and use the facilities to sharpen their skills with other wrestlers. So it's just kind of a secondary setup for guys to get better.
And I saw and I saw along that same line with the new locker rooms, we got the number 3 recruiting class in the country for next year.
Yep. That's I think our 3rd or 4th in a row of top 5s. So obviously Coach Pop's doing well there. Again, I don't. Their systems are a little bit different than football and basketball because it's not as mainstream. So there's just not as many outlets out there. But by all accounts, top class coming in. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. But I think we had like 4 or 5 wrestlers qualify for Worlds coming up here in a few weeks. Mike Macalavella, he won his weight class. Tommy Gant finished 6th. Camacho finished 3rd. Trent, I think he technically won. Like, he won by default. I don't think anyone challenged him in that weight class. So he advanced. But I think I'm missing kind of win. Yeah, if I understood it correctly, like I wish I had Leighton because
more info than I have to offer right now. So I'm listening to you, man.
So good.
I mean,
there was one more. Oh, gosh dang it, the guy that enlisted in the Army.
Isaac Trumbull.
Trumbull. Yeah, he finished 2nd in his. Yep, Trumbull finished 2nd in his weight class.
That's awesome.
Yeah. In fact,
that's right. He did it during a match, didn't he?
That's
right. I knew that.
Yep. So Isaac Trumbull finished 2nd in his weight class. Don't ask me the weight classes, but I can tell you where they finished.
He was a big one.
Yeah, I think. He's going to move up probably in weight class. It sounds like next year.
I think.
So I was just noticing you guys kind of kicking back here to Smart Wrestling, but one thing I was noticing here, talking about what WNBA, I saw a tweet. I was looking through here, just more content to provide. That the Vegas team, the Las Vegas Aces, I think for women's, they cut the 8th overall pick.
Yeah,
interesting.
So
not
apparently
guaranteed.
It's really hard to make the WNBA. I didn't know that.
The only thing I know about the WNBA is that team got in a lot of trouble because their owner is like the richest guy in the league, and he's was flying his team privately, and I guess that's a big no-no.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Which is weird. It's like you can't.
Yeah. They have to go by like the official WNBA travel, and they have to basically fly coach. Like, it's just
so everybody, just so it's all equal, and it's like
So I mean that just goes. I mean, it's hard to take a league seriously when they do things like that. As much as you want to pull for them, and then they just where I was going with all of that. Like, you want to infuse that young blood, but I guess they just don't have the time to develop them because they have to sell what little bit of tickets they can based on name recognition. And that's frustrating.
I got another here, one for you, Greg. I'm going to go to football back here. I'm just looking through Twitter at good content here I can share. Pro Football Focus has a 2023 QB landing spots. Did you see where Devin Leary was?
So if I had to guess, I would say, like, so are they talking like rankings or like where he would end up in the draft?
They have, I think someone's done a mock draft somehow on Pro Football Focus. Mike Renner of Pro Football Focus has 2023 QB landing spots.
Yeah, so I everything I saw, he was like 4th or 5th, depending on who you invest your time in. Because you had the Bryce Young was up there,
very strong QB class.
Yeah, Van Dyke.
Tanner McKee, I've never heard of him, but he's the Stanford quarterback, I believe. They have the Panthers actually taking him, and they just drafted Corral. And then Kentucky's quarterback, Will Levis.
Yeah, he'll be good. He'll be up there. I think I've seen
Ohio State's guy.
It's a CJ Stroud.
CJ Strauss, yeah.
Well, is Spencer Rattler, South Carolina? Can he come out?
I think he could. It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years since his graduation.
What about Caden Slovis of Pittsburgh?
Yeah, he'd be up there.
Again, some of these guys are going to have to show up in the fall to probably.
Yeah, it all.
What I'm getting at is, do you know where they have put?
So I would say Leary was 4th.
He had him 5th.
Okay,
but
I've seen him 4th and 5th.
I'm saying what team they put him with.
Oh, I saw he was going in like the 25th, 26th pick. Was what I was seeing.
What the team
the
was.
Bucks.
I'm hoping it's the Bucks. Jiminy Christmas. I would lose my mind.
That's what this guy has. He has Bryce Young going to the Texans. I'm sure that's number 1. CJ Stroud to the Lions, which I believe in this mock draft 4. It's 4 actually. I remember
depends on the other players.
So Tanner McKee was to the Panthers. I think it was like 6 or 7. I don't remember where Will Levis was, but he was to the Seahawks. And
I might break my other leg if Devin Leary ends up
Devin Leary to the Bucks. Now I have seen another mock draft where Devin Leary is like 27, I think.
Yeah,
Dolphins.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, that's where I've seen.
I think that was 247 CBS Sports. I think is where I saw that.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was. But that was interesting. I know you're a Bucks guy, so
no, that would be fantastic.
I would have my heart would be fluttering.
I would lose my mind. You know how Leighton posts like the moments for the players. I would need my own moment, like watching that selection. It would just be
it'd be like what's his catchphrase? Yeah, baby, whoa, baby, or oh, baby,
oh, baby, yeah,
oh, baby. That's
so speaking of football, you did jog my mind. Yesterday was the deadline for renewing season tickets, and we came in at 95% renewal for season tickets. So Carter Finley will be good to go. So for those 5% that haven't figured it out yet, we are preaching. Go get your tickets.
Yeah, guys, it's not special. I see another one here. Dang, wow. Okay, I'm looking at another mock draft. There's another mock draft here that has Devin Leary going 11th to the Commanders, which is crazy.
Oh, could you imagine?
Yeah, Sam Howell
against Sam Howell.
I would say let it happen.
Let's go.
Let it happen.
Let it unfold.
That's awesome.
I think Sam Howell's going to have an all right career. I don't think he's going to be great, but I mean, he'll have a career in the NFL. I think
they were after the draft. I was watching the one thing about Sam Howell. They were like the one quarterback that you can anticipate like taking over the reins this year, and everyone was pretty much Sam Howell. Like that was the name that because of the situation he's walking into, that they think by getting 8, 9, 10 that he could be the starting quarterback.
I think interesting. I kind of think Corral could be.
Can you imagine like Wentz gone?
Yeah,
like just done
honestly,
that early.
As bad as Carson Wentz is.
Do you think Wentz is done before Darnold's done? Because I don't.
No, I don't either. And
I don't know.
Kenny Pickett too. I mean,
Pickett's going to be. He's going to be the first.
Yeah.
Mitch Trubisky.
Who's the other quarterback? Oh, Trubisky.
Yeah, because unfortunately they lost
the
Dwayne
Oklahoma
Haskins.
State quarterback they had.
Yeah, they had Mason Rudolph. I don't know if he's still there. Yeah.
No,
I still see Myles Garrett punching him, and
I know Duck Hodges hung him up the other day, so I think they're only 3. Yeah, I agree. I think Kenny Pickett would be probably in before Howell, but man, if Carson Wentz craps the bed before game 10, he's out of the league. He's done at that point. Like, there will be.
It feels like his last shot.
Yeah.
By the way, fun fact: he was born in Raleigh.
Carson
Yes,
Wentz?
he was. In fact, he wanted to go to state. Yeah, he wanted to go to state.
Really?
Yeah,
I had no idea.
I don't know.
He was a big state fan
growing up. I saw he was. He grew up a state fan, kind of. Yeah.
Yep. He sure did.
Wow. I have never heard that. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I found out like a couple of years ago when he was doing an interview. Someone had mentioned it. I was like, oh, didn't even know that.
So he would have been
Finley.
What years would he have played?
Right?
Yeah, around Finley.
Finley Brissett, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
I got another mock draft. Actually, you know what? It actually has not 20. So it has that Mike Renner's guy has Leary picking the Bucks picking Leary at 31.
So they're saying we're going to the Super Bowl. Then is what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what that means.
Okay,
So he has whoever
not
the
winning it though.
Whoever the Tampa Bay plays, it would not be the Rams. So whoever
it would be AFC.
Kansas City, Buffalo,
Bucks and Bills.
I would say Bucks and Bills.
Bucks and Bills. I would like that.
Bills look good for next year.
But anyways, I've just looked at these mock drafts. It's just, this is the time of year, guys, where it's not a lot to talk about, but it's just fun. It's just fun.
Did you see? Speaking of the Bills, did you see the punter from San Diego State? His tweet.
Oh,
when he got drafted, someone get me a table. Oh, that's good. That was
hilarious.
That was good. That's good stuff. So we do have I guess, man, it's gonna be kind of quiet coming up. We're getting those dead periods now for recruiting for basketball.
June and July is gonna get tough to.
Yeah. Hey, but we're just right around the corner from talking preseason previews for football. So
that's right. Hey, Greg, do you know when tickets get selected for season ticket holders? Do you know when that is? It's got to be sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, because
probably.
I think they have to be. I think you have to have them done
July.
Buying them July. Yeah, your payment has to be completed by July. That's what I'm trying to say.
Your first payment has to go in at least, right?
No,
they have they're broken down, right?
Yeah, so I did the monthly plan, and I'm already on payment 3 or 4 because I started February, March, April, May. I'm already on 4 payments. So June and July it gets paid off.
That's awesome.
So I would think probably in the next couple of weeks that do you because I know you're new to it, do you get to select your seat, or is it going to be chosen for you based on priority points?
When I did season tickets a few years ago, and I'm doing it again, when I did season tickets a few years ago, you actually went and clicked, even though I was like the first time doing it. So you just basically didn't have priority. It's all about Wolfpack Club priority. So
so I think what's going to happen for you then. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, so this is what's going to happen then. You'll get based on your Wolfpack Club priority, you'll get a date to choose your tickets. That will be starting here in the next week or two. So obviously, the higher you're ranked,
excited about that.
Yeah, the higher you're ranked, you'll get started first, and then obviously, the lower you are, you get slimmer pickings. But you will probably have your selection date either the end of this month or the very beginning of June. Again, depending on where you end up.
I'm so excited, man.
I'll probably have mine in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, somewhere around there.
Nice.
If I could get a seat, right on the bench with the team, I'd be really happy.
Yeah.
Well, you got to talk to Leighton about that. He's got all the family hookups. So
that's right. That's right. I expect to run out of the tunnel every game, but no, I'm a kind of guy who likes the seats. Like I said, this I think lower tier. Upper levels, upper, like a higher seat and upper lower tier. I'll explain that. Or upper tier, lower seat.
Right. I got to so speaking of like being in the tunnel, I got to do that once, and that was the coolest. I won a Wolfpack Club auction, and part of it, the experience was on field, and then get to be in the tunnel as they run out. And then I got to go out on the field after them to get back to my seat, and I was like, man, this is cool. Like it was. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. It was really cool.
When you see those video clips of the smoke just fill, and then you kind of like the camera just kind of goes through it, and then all of a sudden it appears everything. That's like,
I can't.
That is pretty exhilarating.
Like that, yeah.
No,
like
I would. And go ahead.
Even like our entrance is cool, but like I just think about like Enter Sandman at Virginia Tech walking into the stadium.
That's
with
where
that.
Like, my wife's from. I've been there. You know what's funny though? I've been there twice to see a game. Yeah. Twice.
I haven't been.
No.
I went.
Yeah, it was twice. It was twice. I went on a date with her to see Virginia Tech play Virginia, and then I saw State play there against Virginia Tech. Like what was it?
It was a Friday night rainy game. Yeah, Friday rainy game.
And I missed Enter Sandman both times.
Oh.
So I went for a day game, and it was cool, but I can only imagine how much it gets amped up for a night game. Like, I mean, it probably bumps up.
I'm gonna tell you what, too. They also hate Carolina. So, like that opening night game against Carolina last year.
Yeah, cool.
I remember watching that, and it would visit. I was like, "This is pretty cool." I mean,
it was the first college football game back. After
all
COVID
eyes
that had a full stadium. It was awesome.
All eyes were on that game.
Howl for Heisman, guys! Don't forget that.
Oh yeah.
Even though he had 3 kickers picked for him, or 2 kickers picked for him.
I actually went when I went and saw Tech. It was against Carolina, and it was awesome. Like just seeing them get beat. Carolina, that is. It was probably one of the greatest games I've ever been to. I don't even remember the score. They just lost, and that's all I cared about. But So we had 2 players drafted, and Carolina had 4. We have any thoughts on that?
No, because we're going to have like 20 drafted next year. So I'm fine.
So what's your prediction for numbers for next year?
Next
year? What do you think? Yeah, just off the top of your head.
Let's run the list then. So it's going to be Devin Leary. It's going to be Is Jordan Houston getting drafted? Jordan Houston's probably not getting drafted. So you've got, let's go offensive line. You've got Grant Gibson.
I think
I
he's a
think
lock.
he'll get drafted. Yeah.
Drafted. So I said Devin Leary, and I can't count Houston. So then Grant Gibson, and then
I think Devin Carter has a good chance.
I'm thinking who the other offensive linemen, because I think some of those guys they could get drafted late. Like
I don't know. I mean, unless.
For instance, let me say this: what happens if Zavala comes back?
Yeah, I was gonna say if he comes, if he gets his waiver and comes back and has a really good
plays like he did, he doesn't get hurt or anything like that. I could see him getting drafted. I could see, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on some of these guys' name on offensive line. Tackles aren't bad.
Spees,
yeah,
McMahon,
I mean Timothy McKay,
Tyrone Riley.
Spees. No, Tyrone Riley is years ago.
Left.
Yeah. He was with the Jags.
Okay, I think Tim McKay potentially.
No, why he's not. Really?
Tyrone Riley?
I believe Tyrone Riley. There was a Big T. Wasn't that Big T?
Oh, that's Tyrone Prescott, man.
Oh, Prescott. What was I thinking? Riley.
Yeah, well, I'll say no. Riley's still on the team because I think Riley's actually like a 7-year senior right now.
They call it doctors.
But no, but so you got that. So they got let's just go with the conservative route. Leary, Gibson, and let's say Zavala. So let's just say
okay,
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then you got a Mezzi. Then you
Devin Carter.
Mezzi. Well, I didn't get Devin Carter. Sorry, Devin Carter.
Yep.
Thayer Thomas, you said is probably not getting drafted.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So the only receiver
he gets an invite. He definitely gets an invite.
The only receiver getting drafted then is Hunter Renfrow got drafted. Come on,
dude. But look at what he did in the national championship game. He got drafted off the national championship game, and he was an 8-year senior too. It seemed like he was there at Clemson forever.
He's proven that though. He's proven that he belongs.
He's been solid with the Raiders.
Oh, I just remember the Wake Forest guys. Canton Zero, something like that.
Yeah, that's
Canton
close.
Zero, something like that. Yeah, but so okay, conservative route. So now you got 4. Let's just say only Carter gets drafted.
Yeah.
That's your tight end.
And he would have to have a breakout.
Tight end. Penix not getting drafted right now.
I don't think so. But I also don't know the tight end
drafted
class
right now. So then defense is where you're really going to start making money. Corey Durden.
Yep. I think Durden's a lock to get drafted.
So that's 5 now.
5.
And then you've got.
I think
in my head, I came up.
Isaiah Moore's getting drafted.
Yeah,
he's probably going to get drafted a little bit later because he was hurt. I mean,
I'm thinking 3rd or 4th.
He's probably not going to get like 2nd or 3rd round capital. You think?
No,
he could get 3rd. He could get 3rd because he only had the one injury, unlike Peyton Wilson, where I think he would get a late flyer on like a 6th or 7th.
Yeah,
but he's got Peyton Wilson's going to get that late. If he comes back
healthy, injury history. Yeah. Injury history is going to kill him.
Yeah, I guess look at Justin Ross right from Clemson.
Well, he didn't even get drafted. Yeah, but then you look at the guy from Georgia who got drafted by the Eagles. They said he was a 1st or 2nd round talent. Yeah, Dean. But his injury got him knocked down to 3rd. Yeah, but I
view Peyton Wilson as like a 1st round talent. Like
he's 100%. 100%, but he's had 3 major injuries.
Yeah,
you forgetting the ACL in high school.
He's still getting drafted. So that's the whole point.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Six guys.
I think Drake gets drafted.
7.
Drake's a 7.
So 8. I think yes.
I think Shaheem Battle gets drafted.
I agree. Do you think Engel gets drafted?
I don't think he's too small.
I don't think so either. Do you think
he gets
Pitts
invited?
Gets drafted? Pitts? I don't think he gets drafted.
He could.
I don't know secondary enough.
He could if he has a really good year. He could.
Correct. Because look at David Emerson. He had that one. I mean, he had 2 really good years.
I think Dunn gets drafted.
I think he could.
I'd say that 8 to 10. I think is probably.
I think I came up with 8 in my head.
Yeah,
but we could reach.
And that's relatively conservative, right? That's relatively conservative, and we're not talking like where they get drafted, but
correct.
8 to 10 is really good. Yeah. So
that would have put us
the original
like 3rd
question
or 4th.
Was Carolina getting 4 and us getting 2. I'm not really cared about it because we're
winning. But I mean that doesn't matter because I mean like unless you have
they still have a bunch of L's to show for it.
I don't know. It's just weird.
Exactly. They had more L's than drafted.
You have to you have to really look at it if you want to compare. Look at it like over like a 4 or 5 year period because you can't look at it year to year just because some players come back, some players leave. Yep. A player and his freshman year is going to be not even talked about on a draft board, and then by senior year they could be one of the best players like Icky. Right. So
I saw that on social media. I was just coming up with some content to talk about because everyone on social media was like, "Oh, we had 4, you only had 2." Okay, whatever.
Right.
Like You're also Heisman Trophy winner. Went in the 5th round.
In the 5th round, and our 3-star offensive tackle went 6th overall.
Yeah. So anyway, but
I think it's really interesting that it could be that many. So that answer your question. That's pretty sweet.
It could be.
That's gonna be So that's what so that takes us back to our last point. This year is going to be special. Like that's how good of the talent we're gonna have.
Right. Yeah. Bryson Spees and Tyron Riley are our tackles right now.
Yeah.
Or Tyron Riley. Yeah, I think he's there.
Did you see Dave Dorn's interview with Pete? I think Thamel,
the guy on NFL Network, whatever it was, when he put Devin Lear's QB1.
Pete Thamel, Oh no, I was actually watching the NFL draft when it popped up. I was like, oh, there's Dave.
Yeah. Last thing, what do we think about Icky's suit?
Oh, I mean,
so
it's great.
I'm not a big into that kind of like flashy kind of suit thing. That's just not me. It looks sharp in it, and I know a lot of people who like those kind of suits thought that was a really sharp suit.
Yeah,
and I thought he looked sharp. I mean,
it was also his
Nigerian
heritage too.
Yeah,
right?
That was what I thought was like he's representing for his family, his country.
Yeah.
That was cool. All that
was cool.
I wouldn't wear anything like that. I'd probably wear something more of like the straight if I want to do something unique, I might wear like a just red suit.
White.
It's NC State or whatever, or
crazy socks.
Yeah, crazy socks. No, I wouldn't be the guy who I tell you who suit I actually did like a lot was I thought Jamar Chase last year was really sharp. He had the double-breasted white suit. It was simple, but it was like, man, that looks really fresh. I thought Bradley Chubb's probably would have done a little bit more, but people say Bradley Chubb had a really good fit with his because he had
he did.
I didn't think of anything special, but
it looked tight. It looked well tailored. Sometimes that can be the difference. And then, of course, the Icky chain. I like the Icky chain.
Yeah, the chain was sweet.
That's fire. Did you see the video that football released? Him shopping in the jewelry store, like the watches and stuff. He was like,
"Oh yeah, I did see that."
Oh, that was fire. Anyway, guys, it looks like
those jewelers will give that to them for free for the promotion.
Yeah. So,
but anyways, guys, all right, we're done here. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching the live stream. Gonna have a really fun week coming up in sports. I know State's baseball's got a UNC series coming up. I know that Doak will be. Is it at Doak?
It's at I'll be in town for 2 of the 3. Yep,
it'll be packed there. We've got
Red and beat Carolina week.
Yeah, we've mentioned that the I think it was tennis. We talked about if they're on TV, you can find ways to watch them do that. So again, it's kind of slowing down. It's kind of getting where it's more exclusively baseball and other sports ramping up. But yeah, guys, it's really fun. I will definitely be watching it, and I know Greg will be there. So hopefully, you guys get to see him there and everybody else. But again, hope you guys have a great week. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. We really had a fun time talking, and we look forward to talking to y'all next week. So as always, go Pack.